Hello, hello. Welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn and my Thursday afternoon Facebook Live. My voice is a bit tricky today. I think my husband gave me a really lovely gift, and it's a bit of a virus or something that's going on. But here's my project for today. It is a really fabulous technique that I saw Sara, our CEO of Stampin' Up, do, where she has embossed on glimmer paper with heat embossing. I've got my heat embossing tray here to give the extra detail on the glimmer paper. Doesn't it look great? And I have paired it with this gorgeous, gorgeous greenery vellum to make a fun fold. This is actually one of the cards that we're doing at our class tomorrow. So I've already die cut my tree. It is from the Merriest Trees dies. So I'm using the Merriest Trees dies and stamp set. Excuse me, shouldn't talk. They coordinate together really, really nicely. There's 16 stamps and there is 26 dies. So this is actually a bit of a firm favourite for me for Christmas. It's a really, really great stamp set. Also, I'm going to die cut these little bits and pieces, these silver bits and pieces to embellish my tree. So I've got some silver foil, and to make the die cutting, or actually not that so much the die cutting, but the assembly really easy, I'm going to add some adhesive sheet. This adhesive sheet comes in big sheets, and I've just cut down a bit that I think should be enough for what I want to do. Okay, so I might just do that while I've popped that on there. Okay, pop you in here. And get my platform, my number one. Okay, I've got my adhesive sheet and my silver foil. I've got it on the left hand side, so I will put these little dudes. So they're very, very fine little dies, these little snowflakey things, but I just love them. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And then the last one I'm going to add is this little one here. Okay, so they're all on that left-hand side where I put that adhesive sheet. Pop my top layer on and just wind that through. And then the die cutting machine will cut out those beautiful little snowflakey things and also the adhesive sheet all in one go, which will mean that when I go to stick it together, they'll be all done. Okay, so that's one bit of the project done. Well, ready to go. Let's have a look. I've got my card base, which is your normal size card base, and then I've got this lovely printed vellum. It's a bit hard to tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side. So if that's the case, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter because you can't really tell. I am using seal to stick down the vellum. You can't see it, especially when you put the seal right over the printed parts. You can't really use liquid glue on vellum because you can see through it when it dries. So just pop that on, leaving a little border all the way around. Now I've got my very skinny strip. This is 5 centimeters wide, this strip, and double the length of my card and then scored in the middle. Going to pop that. Now I can use that looks about the center there. Use my grid paper to line that up. That looks pretty fine. All right, let's do some stamping now. We'll do our tree in a minute. Inside I'm going to stamp "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." And I also need to get this stamp out, this large stamp, because that's what we're going to do our heat embossing with. So I'll just mount you up. And this one, "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," I'll just pop that there. Now I'm going to pop that on the inside of my card. This is actually, I don't think this is a very detailed or tricky card. It's a fairly simple card, but it has some very cool techniques in it. Okay, so there's the inside of my card done. And for the front, we're going to have the tree and those die cut embellishments, but I just want to put Merry Christmas on the front. And there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can use your markers and the brush tip and colour on the letters, just the ones that you want, and stamp that. So that's one way. But here's another way you can stamp just what you want, and that's to put either post-it note, or I'm using washi tape. So something, hello, happy Thursday to you too, Maria. So I'm putting washi tape over the letters I don't want to colour, ink, okay. And then, very careful, you can see through the stamp, so that's really, really cool. I'm just going to stamp right on the edge of my ink pad there, make sure my words, and then remove my washi tape. Take off that bit that's got ink on it, throw it away. So it is, you know, you do have to sacrifice some washi tape, and then stamp my Merry Christmas straight down. And I've only got Merry Christmas. I don't have the We Wish You Merry Christmas that's on the inside of the card. Okay. Now is the fun bit. I might get just a bit of scrap paper underneath that, just in case. So I'm going to stamp using my white ink pad, basically so I can see what I'm doing. And your white ink pad comes with a blank ink pad and also an ink refill. And it's a good idea every time you stamp with it to just give it a bit of a zhuzhing up with your ink refill. So the white is a good ink in terms of it stays wet longer, which is why it's really, really good for embossing, heat embossing. It's a pigment-based ink. It's actually quite a good opaque ink too, so you can see it. It doesn't dry too light, which is actually, it's a really good white ink. Okay, so I've given that a bit of a re-ink. Just before I stamp that, I'm going to get my embossing powder out ready. Okay, and my tray is just there. Okay, so because this is such a large stamp, I'm just going to ink it up upside down, and I've zhuzhed up my ink pad so you can see exactly what's going on there, and stamp onto my glimmer paper like that. And throw that on my tray and put plenty of powder down. Okay, and then I'm going to use my tweezers. Okay, tap off all my excess, and then that's all done. I can close this up, get my embossing powder out of the way, and then I'll use my heat tool. Okay, it's always, when you're heat embossing, it's always a good idea to preheat your heat tool before you start using it on your project. That way it'll, the embossing powder will heat quite quickly, and you won't give any extra heat to your project to damage it. Okay, so I'm holding that. That feels like it should be warm enough, and then I'll just heat up my embossing powder until it all goes melted and shiny. Can't really tell. I'm going to heat it a little bit underneath as well. I can see some bits that are not quite done. There we go. And that looks a bit better. There we go. Okay, so there's my tree. Move you out of the way. I'm going to stick him on. Does that look good? Like, the glimmer paper is spectacular. I love the Stampin' Up! Glimmer paper. Is so good. The glitter doesn't come off on your fingers. So really good quality product. And the colours are fantastic. They go really, really well with our cardstocks and inks. They all coordinate beautifully. And it's such good glimmer paper. Okay, so this one's going to pop up. Whoops. Stick you there. Isn't that cool? And then the last thing is these little die cuts that I've already got the adhesive sheet on the back of. I'll just pull all of those off. Oh, that one's come off. Sometimes they you can get them out of the dies and just take off there's the backing paper there. Whoop. I'm not sure whether you can see. It's a bit hard to tell on the camera probably, but I have got the back of that off. All right, now I can just stick you on. Little one right there. There we go. Now these guys have still got that on, so I actually find it easier taking off the paper while they're still in. Okay, so pop you there. I love these snowflakey things. They're so pretty. And you. There we go. There's another one. Oh. I'm trying not to, you might notice, I'm trying not to touch the sticky too much with my own skin because that can compromise the ability of the sticky stuff to stick really well. Okay, here's a little star down near my greeting. Now, it's got some bits to come out of the middle, so I'm hoping they'll come off with the backing. Sometimes, there we go, the whole thing just peels off, which is really helpful. And there we go. I think I've got one more. I must have lost one off my original card. Or I didn't put it on, I'm not sure. But I can't waste this beautiful thing. Here we go. Last one. There we are. So, heat embossing on your glimmer paper. Try it. It's really, really easy and it looks amazing. Okay, a big impact for little effort. Thank you so, so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and I'll see you next week. Bye.